Welcome to this week's session with the Putnam County District Library. This week we are looking at Google Sheets with some added tips. Last week we looked at Google Sheets for beginners. That video is still available. In fact, all videos are always available by clicking on the link for the YouTube on the library's website. However, this week we're just going to add two with some additional information. So if I go to the sheet that I created, these are what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at how you can add a sheet, add a row or a column, merge cells, place borders, formulas, and to then print. So I have some Google Sheets here, and I have one that is called Time, Tacos, and Library. This is my Google sheet called Practice within these additional sheets within this one. So what I have done here is if you go to the plus sign clear on the left, this is where it will automatically add sheets. Notice this is now called sheet 6 because I've added some previously and then deleted them, because you can always go here to the arrow and you can delete any sheet that you might have inside of this grouping. So I'm just going to say delete. Now notice it is gone. Going to again add, and then what you'll see is now, remember, this one is called sheet 7. So if I want to change the title and the name, I can rename it here. So I am going to simply call this one Today. And then the other thing I can do is, if you notice, the library one here has a green line below it. I can always kind of change the color to maybe separate these out a little bit more, make them a little bit more obvious to know which one is which. So I simply click on the arrow there to change that color. So we are now on the individual sheet that's called Tacos. And now I want to look at how we can add a row or a column. So to add a row or a column, remember, columns go down, rows are across, and each individual one of these are called cells. So if I go up here to number 2, which is then looking at this row 2 going across, I can insert a row, and it will ask me if I want to insert it above or below where I am currently located. I'm going to say I'm going to insert one above, and let's call this one sour cream, and we'll give it a dollar amount. I'm just simply going to put the number 4 in, and notice all I did was simply put 4 because remember last week when we talked about how we can label columns and rows so that they are formatted a certain way. The other thing we talked about, if I were to click here on column A and column B, if for viewing purposes here, I could select these and I could actually increase the size, make them a little bit easier and bigger to see. Notice when this happened, my sour cream, now remember it ran out. Or I shouldn't say ran out, it ran over. So I can click up here at the top and I can simply expand that out so that it's all visible. So I've added a row. I could do the same thing with columns as well, because if I click here on the arrow, it's giving me the option to insert a column as well. Merging cells is the next thing we're going to look at. So what I want to do is I want this, it's titled, the sheet itself, individual sheet is titled Tacos. I want to put a title across the top. So if I highlight row 1 going across, again I'm going to insert a row and I'm going to insert it above. So now I have a separate row up here. But if I type in the word taco, notice what happens. It's put it in A1. So it's clear over here to the side. But for appearance purposes, I want it to look more centered. I'm going to take this and I'm going to go to A1, and well, as to over here to B1, holding down my shift key, so I've got both of these columns selected. And I'm going to go up here to what looks like kind of like a box with arrows in it. This is where the merged cells are. If I click on that, now notice what happened. I've got tacos, it's centered straight over my information because I used the merge cell. So that's how you would go about merging a cell. Now the next thing is if we wanted to place a border around it. So if I click on this, beside merge cell, which notice it's highlighted because it's merged, if I go to borders, I can add a border. So if I click here on the first one, all of these are just different appearances to your border that you might have. If I click on this one, it's going to add a border around it, as well as if I click on this, it's going to get a border around it. But notice I can change my border colors as well. So if I click on these and add my borders, I'm going to make it red, then what is happening is, let me click again here, I clicked away too many times. I now have a border. I can change the format of my borders as well, so I can make it bold so it stands out more. So now I have a red border that's bold all around the word tacos there. And like I said, there's all those different ways that you can actually format, change it. You can make it dotted line, so forth. A formula in cell. So I'm going to go to a different sheet called library here, and I'm simply going to put some information in. First of all, I just want to show you how a formula works. So you can always use a spreadsheet, a sheet of any kind, spreadsheet, sheets, as calculator, because the one thing you want to always keep in mind is when you're doing anything, I'm simply going to show addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division today. But you always use the equal sign, and then I would say 8, and I would add the plus symbol that's above the equal sign and 2. The other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this bigger like we did on the other page, just so that it's easier to see. Notice what happens. It's now a 10 because I changed that and again make it. So if I go up here to the top, when I have column A, row 4 highlighted, notice up here is my information, but this is what is going to appear. So I could do the same thing. I'm going to click. This time though, I'm going to change it. I'm going to say 9. I'm going to minus 1. Now that's not going to do anything because it's only going to show because I did not put the equal sign in front. Now with having 9 minus 1 in there, oops, let's do this again. Equal sign, 9 minus 1. Now I have my 8. Again, the formula is up here, and what the formula means to say is down here. Do the same thing again, do the equal sign. If I go 7, let's go and multiply this time. The symbol above the 8. And now when I hit return, I get 14. And the same thing with division. If I go 5, or no, let's go 4. Let's go 4 divide, well, first of all, again, equal sign, 4 minus, or divided by 2, and I get 2. Again, the formula is up here. So that is simply how you can kind of use it as a calculator, that's an understanding of formulas. But let's do this. Let's go back, and I want to make it so that this column, A4, is where my formula shows up based upon information that's put in other cells. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the equal sign. I'm going to put B. This is B right here. I'm going to put B4. Oops, I don't want 43. B4. And I'm going to say minus. And then I'm going to the next column over, C4. Hit return. So I have my formula in there. Notice my formula is up here above. But it's saying 0 because there's nothing in here. So if I were to go back here now, and let's put some numbers in. Okay, I only have a number in the first one, so there's nothing to subtract it from, so it's 8. But let's put a 3 in. So now we have the number 5, because B4, which is 8, C4, which is 3, subtracted is 5. So that's how your formulas would work. You can do any of that. There's even more advanced. I'm just showing the basic of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And then the last thing is talking about how to print. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to the one titled time. And when I look at this, I want to print this. So if I simply go to print, this is what I'm going to see, because I have selected the special features here of what I want it to be. I can, if I highlight and I say I only want this, and I say print, file, print. Again, I'm getting that same thing. Let's go back. Go back one more. Cancel. Oops. Go back here to time. Let's highlight this. What exactly we want to print. I hit print. But what I want you to see here is how I can change my format. I can show grids or not show grid lines. I can center it, which is currently centered. I can say I want to the left. I can say I want it to the bottom. So I can move it around however I want this to appear on my page. And if I were to go back here to time as well and say, and only select a certain part, I can do the same thing and just print what exactly that I want to have printed. So again, let's go back here one more time. We looked at sheets, how to add a sheet. We looked at adding a row or a column. We looked at merging cells, placing borders around, formulas using either the plus, always having the equal sign to begin with, but then the plus sign for addition, the minus for subtraction, the asterisk above the 8 for multiplication, and the slash above or below the question mark for division, and then as well as how to print and how if we only select a portion of the actual sheet, how we can just print whatever we have highlighted and selected to print. I hope everyone has a fantastic week, and we'll see you next week.